morning, students. In a previous lecture, we are doing we are studying about the transition elements and their properties. In that, we have in a last lecture we have discussed about the oxidation state of a transition element. In that, mostly the transition element shows the variable of oxidation state. Why they show the variable oxidation state? That is due to the unpaired electron. Due to the unpaired electron present in a D block element. So that's why they show the variable transition, variable oxidation state. Now in today's topic we have discussed about the next property of a transition element, that is next year tendency to form complexes. Transition elements have a great tendency to form a complex, and in this that is, I am taking one example, that is K4 CN6. After the dissociation, this is the equilibrium process. 4K positive plus FeCN4 minus 4. Second one is CuNH3 SO4, that gives CuNH4 plus 2 plus SO4 2 negative. Clear? In this, that is transitional element, that is form the tendency to form the complex. Complex is either in the form of that is a anion, and either is in the form of a cation. They may either be cationic or they may be either anionic complexes. In this, that is, firstly, why they have a tendency to form the complex molecules? Why do form the complex? In this, that is behave like the ionic metal, and this one is called ligands. Okay, this is called a central ionic metal. In some cases these are the ionic, and some cases they form a neutral, and in that cases I am taking the one more example, FeCO5. In this, oxidation state is 0, but in that case the oxidation state is +2, and copper has also +2 oxidation state. So that why I have the central ionic compound. These are the central ionic compound. Ionic compound, why? They are the cationic in nature, and these are called the ligands. And in some cases that you have a central metal have a neutral, and that is called a central metal atom. Clear? Some cases it is not compulsion, that is they have a ionic, central metal is ionic. So in some cases they form a ionic, and in some cases they are the atom which have oxidation state 0. Clear? Now, why they form a complex compound? What are the complex compounds? Because they have tendency to form coordinate bonds, because these lysosomes have a tendency to form a coordinate bond with the central metal ion or the ion. That's why they are form a complex compound. Clear? In a complex compound, that is always they are bonded with a coordinate bond. If they have a covalent or the ionic bond, such a type of a compound is not called a coordinate bonds or the complex compounds. Clear? In any cases, if the two molecules are bonded with a covalent bond, these are not considered in a complex compound. In a complex compound, that is always the central metal ions and the ions, they are bonded with the coordinate bond. Coordinate bonded is denoted by arrow. Now, why reason is why that a transition element shows the complex molecule. Why they have a greater density to form the complex. First reason is due to smaller size. That is a transition element have a small size, so that's why they form a complex molecule. Second one is high nuclear charge. They have a high nuclear charge, so that's why they form a tendency to form a complex. Third one most important reason is they have a vacant d orbital. Due to the vacant d orbital, they form a complex molecule. This one is clear now. Firstly, in that they combine a complex molecule, they have a form of coordinated bonds. In that, either it will be the central metal ion or it will be the central metal ion, and this is called a ligands. Clear? Why they form a complex molecule is due to the small size, high nuclear charge, and they have a vacant d orbital, so that's why they have a high tendency to form a complex compound. Clear? Next, we have discussed about now catalytic property. Already we have discussed in the previous classes what is the catalyst or the catalytic properties. What is the catalyst? That is they are used in the reaction that is to speed up the reaction. The substance that is used to speed up or increases the rate of a reaction, that is called a catalyst. Now, in that is the transition elements have a tendency to form a catalytic compound. They have a properties to form the catalytic compound because they help to increase the rate of reaction. And in every reaction, that is different catalysts are used. For example, firstly, Haber process. Haber's process is what when the nitrogen is react with the hydrogen in a process of iron and they form a ammonia. In this, iron is a catalyst which is used to speed up the reaction, which is used to form the ammonia molecules. And this process is called a Haber process. And iron is your transition element that have a catalytic property. Second one, I am taking another example, that is the hydrogenation reaction. In that, that is your ethene. Ethene is converted into the ethane in the presence of nickel, platinum and platinum catalyst. In this, that is behave like a, all these behave like a catalyst that is used to speed up the reaction. And in this, that is the nickel, platinum or the platinum, any one catalyst is we use. And next one is contact buses. What is the contact buses? In which we can obtain a sulfuric acid, that is sulfur dioxide is reacting with the oxygen in the presence of Pt or V2O5, that will give sulfur trioxide. Sulfur trioxide is next reacting with the water molecule to form a sulfuric acid. Now look better. In a first hybrid process, we have a use iron catalyst. In a second hydrogenation reaction, we use a nickel platinum or platinum. And in a third contact process, we use V2O5 and vanadium pentoxide, or we use platinum. And different catalysts are used in a different direction. We are not using the same type of a catalyst. They have a, why we use a different catalyst, because in a case of a, if we are talking about the example one, that they have a great absorption. Iron has a great absorption of a great absorbing power of an absorb nitrogen and hydrogen to form ammonia. Clear? To form ammonia. If I use the catalyst iron in a second, iron has a great absorption to absorb the hydrogen, but it has no tendency to absorb the ethene molecule. Which catalyst is used which has a great absorption to absorb both the molecule to form a new product? Iron is not used in a second reaction, because iron has the different properties of absorption and these have a different properties of absorption. Clear? And next one is, when we are using the catalyst, this will also decrease the activation energy. They have a power of decreasing activation energy, or we can say that it lowers the activation energy. Lowers the activation energy means, I will explain. That is this one is a reactant, this one is a product, and this one is intermediate. Okay, and second this one, in that we use the catalyst. If we are talking about the hydrogenation. Now in this, that is CH2 double bond CH2, in that CH3 CH3 product. If we are doing the reaction, we are converting the reactant into the product without a catalyst, then the rate of we require a large amount of energy to convert it into the product. But if we use a catalyst, which catalyst we are using in that case is a nickel, or we are using mainly a nickel platinum or platinum. If we are using the catalyst, then it is easily to convert the reactant into the product. So that's why it lowers the activation energy. That one. Now it have a, this one energy is not required. Lowers the, in that case is, if we are using the reaction without catalyst, so more energy is required. But if we are using the catalyst, we are requiring the less amount of energy to convert into the product. So that's why we use the catalyst, because it lowers the activation energy. Here there are the two major points. Firstly, it lowers the activation energy. Second one is it have a great absorption They have a great absorption, so that's why they are easily converted into the further. Great. Second one, first one is a lower activation energy. Second one is a absorption power. They have a greater absorption power, so that's why they are easily converted into the reactant into the fiber. Clear? And third one, we are talking about the formation of interstitial compound. We all know very well that is in a interstitial compound, that is we are discussing a solid state, that is solid molecules are bonded with each other. In that is some gap is present, some space is present between that atoms, and in that atoms, that is there are the some element, that is which element is there, that is the hydrogen, boron, carbon, nitrogen. These are the elements that trapped or occupy that free space that is present between these atoms. Clear? So interstitial compound, that is a solid atom have a complex, that have a rigid, they have a solid structure, but they have a space between them. There are the, some small atoms, that is a non-metallic element. They are all the non-metals, non-metallic element that entrapped between the empty space between these compounds. Okay? They have a space, that is a, they have form of structure, that is a BCC, FCC and HC. In a BCC, that is 32% is vacant space is present, and in that FCC 26, and in this also. That is BCC body centric cubic structure, face centric cubic structure, hexagonal cubic pattern. Here in this BCC 32% is free space is this one, empty space is present. In the case of FCC 26 and in case of FCP 26% vacant space is present, and these spaces occupied or the elements, which elements are entrapped in between hydrogen, boron, carbon, nitrogen, these elements are entrapped in these vacant space. After entrapping in them, that is they become that is TiC, Mn3n, Sp3c, BH 0.56, TiH 1.6. Now in this liquid, first here these are the transition elements, or second one is in that transition element atoms or the compound, that is which elements are occupied their space, carbon, nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen and hydrogen. They occupy the vacant space. Clear? And these compounds are called non-cyclomatic compounds. After occupying the space, they form a rigid structure or hard. We know solid are almost hard, they are the metals, but if they have some gap, but these gap is also occupied by the non-metallic compounds, they become more hard and density becomes high, increases. If they have become hard, more hard, density decreases. So that's why malleability and ductility become less. Due to the hardness, high hardness, it has a high melting and boiling point. Boiling point and melting point is increases. Next is, if the melting and boiling point is increases, then they becomes chemically inert. Means these are not reacting with any more compounds because these have no space between them. So that's why they are chemically inert. Clear? But they retain their metallic conductivity. Clear? This is about the interstitial compound. That is, in that atoms are in a solid, that atoms are bonded with each other, but they have a vacant space between them. They form a three types of molecule compound. They have three types of structure, that is BCC, FCC, and HCP. And in a free space, that is the hydrogen, boron, carbon, and nitrogen are entrapped between them. And due to the entrapping the small elements, non-metallic compounds, they become hard or rigid. Density becomes high, and malleability and ductility becomes less. That have a hard in nature. Third, have a high melting and boiling point increases, and they becomes chemically inert. They does not act with any, and they retain their metallic conductivity. Clear? Next one is alloy formation. What is the alloy formation? That is a homogeneous mixture of two metals or one metal, or that have a one metal or one non-metal. In that is, we are taking the example of a bronze. Bronze is an alloy. Clear? In that, transition elements have a form the alloy with non-transition element. That is a bronze. Bronze is a alloy, that is a combination of a copper and a tin. In that, copper is a transition element and tin is a non-transition element. If I taking another example, that is the brass. Brass is an alloy, and in that, copper and zinc. And copper is a transition. Zinc has not considered in transition element because due to the vacant and d orbital. Clear? So that's why in that mostly in alloy, that is, one is a transition element and second one is the non-transition element. Next question: why the transition element have a formation of a alloy? That is due to small size. Okay? Due to the small size, they form a alloy. In that, Now this one that I know different color pen, so that's why I show over. That is these are the atoms of metal M, and these one are the atoms of different metal. Because they have a same size, they form a bond between them. So they have a formation of a alloy, transition element form of alloy. Thank you.